I'm your host, Larry Smith, and you're listening to Speakout Podcast, a community outreach of the Lawrence County Career Technical Center in Moulton, Alabama. And today, my co-host is Caroline Lee, a senior at Hatton High School and a cosmetology student at the Technology Center. Hi, Caroline. Let's welcome our guest to the show.
Hi, Larry. We're excited to introduce our two guests for the first episode of our new podcast. Both are former students at the Lawrence County Career Technical Center, and like me, both were students in the cosmetology program.
Well, one of our guests today is Grace Orr, and Grace was a part of the Lawrence County Career Technical Center for 3 years and enrolled in the cosmetology program. While Grace was a student, she served as a Skills USA officer and earned her cosmetology license shortly after her high school graduation. After receiving her license, she used the skills that she learned from the program to work in a local hair salon until the global pandemic disrupted the business community. Grace attends the University of North Alabama studying Spanish and education. She'll be graduating in May of 2022. She currently works at a local elementary school where she can utilize her Spanish and education skills. Grace and her husband are expecting their first child, a baby boy, in December. We're glad to have you today, Grace.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
And I'm excited to introduce Rayne Johnson. Rainey is a 2018 graduate of Lawrence County High School. Rainey attended Speak School for 4 years and transferred to Moulton Middle in the 5th grade. She was a student at the Lawrence County Career Technical Center, where she studied cosmetology for 3 years. Rainey attended Northwest Shoals Community College, where she obtained her associate's degree in salon and spa management. She is currently attending Athens State University, where she will earn her bachelor's degree in career technical education. Rainey is also working a full-time job at a salon. Rainey competed in an organization called Skills USA during her 3 years at the Career Technical Center. During her junior year, she placed first on the state level in aesthetics. After placing on the state level, Rainey was given the opportunity to travel to the national competition in Louisville, Kentucky, where she competed against one competitor from each state in the U.S. Rainey placed third in her aesthetics her senior year on the state level. She competed in Skills USA during her freshman year in college as well, where she placed first in the state once again. She then traveled to the national competition once more. In 2019, Rainey placed first in the nation against 50 competitors and earned the title of the national champion in aesthetics through Skills USA. Rainey was awarded multiple scholarships throughout her high school experience, including Alabama Community College Competitor Scholarship, Career Technical 2-year Scholarship, Alabama Cattlemen's 2-year Scholarship. And in Rainey's spare time, she enjoys spending time outdoors with her family, fiance, and 2 pups.
And we just want to talk to y'all today. We just ask a few questions, and maybe start with you, Grace. What or who helps you to choose this field as your career?
So going into cosmetology, I knew that it wasn't something that I wanted to do my whole entire life, but rather something that I wanted to use as I was studying during college. And so that's what kind of helped me to decide. I wanted to work while going to school to be able to have money, make money while going to school, but doing something that I really enjoyed doing. So that's what helped me to decide to do cosmetology.
Right. Rainey, what about you?
So growing up my whole life, I kind of always wanted to be a cosmetologist. I was always interested in hair and makeup and designing. So once I got into the Career Technical Center, I really enjoyed my experience all 3 years. So I continued my education in college and then was given the opportunity to come back for another year and receive my certificate in cosmetology instructor. So Now I'm actually getting my degree in technical education for the secondary level at Athens State.
Wow, well, that's great.
And what advice would you offer for someone considering going into the field?
If your dream is in whatever field you want to do, cosmetology is a great field. You have many opportunities and options to grow yourself and just adventure in all types of things. So if it's what you want to do, then pursue it no matter what anybody else says.
Well, another question. Well, Grace, what about that same question? What advice would you offer for someone?
Some advice that I would offer is, if this is what you want to do, you need to go all out. I wouldn't just halfway do it, or just, you could do it part-time. I did it part-time for years, but I would give your whole self into it and go full out, because you can make as much money or as little money and spend as much time or as little time as you want to into this field. So if you go into it knowing that this could be really big or it can be as small as you want it to be. So.
Well, when you were here at the Lawrence County Career Technical Center, did you have a good experience here? Could you tell us a little bit about what it was like to come here?
Yes, absolutely. It's very hands-on. You learn a lot of the basics, and the basics lay the foundation down for what you need in the salon. One thing that we would get frustrated as students saying, well, we don't get to do this, we don't get to do this, but without knowing those basic skills, you really can't do everything else that people are doing in the salon. It's really true. Miss Bennett would always tell us, like, no, you have to know the basics to be able to do everything else, and it's very, very true. Along with that, you get to meet friends that you have throughout your whole life. You spend 3 years here, you spend hours and hours each week. You get to go on vacation, or not vacations, but field trips and competitions together. You spend so much time together, and you're surrounded by teachers and stuff who love you, who want to pour into you, and to see you succeed in your career path. So I had a great experience here.
Rainey, what about you?
I agree with Grace. The cosmetology program here at Lawrence County Career Technical Center gave me a wonderful group of friends. It allowed me to grow in many relationships, and I still have those friends today, 3 years later. And the faculty and staff here are wonderful. They want to, like Grace said, pour into your life and want to see you succeed.
Well, and Caroline, I know you can confirm everything they're saying
Oh,
because
yeah,
you're a
absolutely.
student here now.
How have you used what you learned at LCCTC? Either one of you.
So, as Grace said in the past question, Miss Bennett really poured into us and made us focus on the foundation of cosmetology. And I can say now, as a cosmetologist, that foundation has really set me up for a great future in the cosmetology world, because without those foundations and basics of cosmetology, then what you build as you further your career, it has no base. So you definitely have to know the basics.
Yes. What about you,
Grace?
Grace? Can you repeat the question again?
What have you used, or how have you used what you learned at LCCTC?
Yes, like what Rainey said and like what I stated in the previous question, all the things that we learned, the basics and all that stuff carried right into what we needed in the salon. Even if we didn't get to do things like, oh, I want to do a biolash, or I want to make sure I do a bob haircut, or I want to make sure we do this. Those basics that we did learn laid the foundation for every other thing that we needed in a real salon. So I really appreciated that.
Well, what are some of the challenges in the field of cosmetology?
There's a few. I think one of the challenges that I had was setting boundaries for myself and determining when to say no, when to say yes to clients. And what I mean by that is there was a lot of, where my salon was located, there was so many walk-ins, but I also had clients for the day, and I had to decide, do I have time to do these people, and am I okay with saying no if they ask for this, this, and this? Because sometimes if you say yes, you may be there till 11 o'clock at night, seriously.
Right,
Or if you
right.
say no, well, that may potentially lose a potential customer later on down the line. It's really setting boundaries for yourself was one of the challenges that I had in a real life salon, and deciding what I wanted to say yes to, what I wanted to say no to.
Rainey, do you have similar challenges? Or?
Definitely. So I struggle with scheduling my appointments. I always overbook myself, even when I try not to, and that means late nights in the salon, late nights working, but it's all worth it, and that's something I'm definitely going to have to work on. Another struggle would probably be trying to balance life and work, because it kind of just takes over and it becomes your life.
Yes.
So I know that you're in the school system, correct?
Yes.
So what does a typical work day look like for you?
As far as how did it look in the salon, or how did it look in the school systems themselves, like my work day in the school system?
Like your current work day?
Okay, so my current work day, I am actually a translator for a student using my Spanish skills and stuff like that. So I come in and I would just be with that student all day and speak Spanish, what I love to do. But Rainey, I guess you can fill in for the salon part.
So a typical day for me looks like, since I get to create my own schedule, I'm also a student, so I take Mondays and half of a Tuesday to do homework. So I'm not at work on those days, and I also go on my supply run on Mondays, and that allows me half of Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday to work, and I try to balance out as much as I can and not work over 5 o'clock.
Well, Rainey, do you have any tips for someone who's getting into cosmetology and wants to have their own business? How do you grow your business?
Definitely. So social media is a big platform for me. Without social media, it's hard to reach out to people, but word of mouth travels faster than anything. So how you treat people and your basics that you learn here at Lawrence County Career Technical Center, that's gonna get you further than anything. Another thing would probably be learning to finance things and just make sure you have everything that has to do with money in order.
And I guess there's probably, if you wanted to open up a salon or something, that's quite expensive, I guess, isn't it?
It is. There's a lot that goes into it. Knowing how to run a salon is something you will definitely learn the basics of here, and then if you further your education at a college level, you will learn more into that. And there's all kinds of things that go into it. The design, your clients, location, everything that has to do with things like that.
So how do you stay on top of the trends and when to, like, how am I trying to say this? Like, keep up with the younger generation now that you're in college?
So a big part of that has to do with taking classes outside of college. So since I'm an education major now, cosmetology school is behind me. So I have to attend classes on my own. There's a lot of classes that are hosted in Nashville, so that makes for a great weekend trip. You get to go up there and learn, and then come back and you get to show other people your styles, or you can broadcast them on social media, videos, post, different things like that. That is a great way for me to further my education outside of college. Instagram, Facebook, YouTube have different videos on there, and making sure it's the right way to do it is a big thing, but once you learn how to do it and you're comfortable with it, it's great.
Well, Grace, where do you find inspiration for all the things you do?
So a lot of the inspiration that I had when I used it in salon came from social media. All the trends and everything that's going on is just right there at your fingertips, and you can research and do as much as you want. And like what Rainey said, you can use YouTube, Instagram. There's so many people out there who just want to just show you what they can do and say, hey, we learned how to do this, let me show you how to do it. So a lot of my inspiration came from seeing all those new trends on Instagram and then watching the tutorials and stuff like that and just trying it out.
Rainey, where do you find inspiration?
Majority of my inspiration comes from Instagram. There's a lot of competition when it comes to the cosmetology world, so knowing what you're doing and how to do it is a big part of staying in that competition. And majority people on Instagram, they post things, so following them and learning things from them is a great way to stay on top of things.
Well, then, this is not one of the questions that we wrote down, but do y'all have a presence on social media? I mean, like Rainey, do you already post anything related to cosmetology that you have a YouTube channel or something?
I do not have a YouTube channel, but I do have an Instagram, and I like to take pictures of my previous work that I've done and share with people different formulas and things that I've used to create that certain look.
What about you, Grace? Do you do social media as far as a presence on there for
Yes.
any of the things you do?
Yes, I do. I post, well, I recently started a YouTube channel, like singing and stuff, but that's not really related to like the salon or anything like that. But I feel like having a social media presence is something that is so necessary for new cosmetologists today. There's some cosmetologists who's been working for 30 years who have never had social media, and they're some of the most successful cosmetologists that I know. But for getting started, I think it's really necessary to have a social media presence, because that's where your name gets out there before, it can be before word of mouth, but then once word of mouth starts, that just kick-starts really quick. But I think in order to get yourself out there, it's really, really necessary to have a social media presence.
Yes.
So who do you look up to, Grace?
I actually look up to those cosmetologists who have been working in the field for 30 plus years, who are not on social media but are still keeping up with those trends. Just like they can come in here and do some of the cultural trends that's going on right now better than any of the young cosmetologists that I know, because their basics are so strong. So I really look up to those people. They are dedicated to their work, they're dedicated to their clients, and they're dedicated to themselves and to their career, and I really look up to those people.
What about you, Rainey?
So like Grace said, those older women in cosmetology, the salon that I work at, there are many women that work with me, and I look up to them in every way. They are there long nights, but they know how to work around a schedule, and they have their clients that come in, and they just have the best relationships with them, and that shows me a sign of a great future in the salon.
So do you go to him for advice, or if you're stuck on, if a client wants something that you're not as experienced with?
Most definitely. There are some things that they don't know that us younger cosmetologists do know, and that's a great balance in between, because I can show them and they can show me, but they are most definitely a reliable source for me.
Well, is there something that either of y'all that you wish that you had learned or been exposed to in high school that would have better prepared you for work or for adulthood?
I would say learning to better my finances would be the biggest thing that I wish I would have learned here at Lawrence County.
Yes.
Something that I think I wish that I could have experienced in the cosmetology department was just how fast-paced it can be, because there was some days where you have like 10 minutes to eat a lunch or 5 minutes or something like that, but that's kind of hard to do in 3 class periods, or just in the everyday cosmetology department. But that's when Miss Bennett would provide us with opportunities to bring people in, and we would have all-day events, and you can really see how crazy a salon can get. So I would say that I wish we had those opportunities, but Miss Bennett did her very best to provide us with those and to see really how it is in a work day in a real salon.
Yeah, that's cool. That's great.
What do you like most about your career, either one of you?
So what I enjoy most about cosmetology is there's such a variety of options that you can choose from. So personally, I'm a cosmetologist and esthetician. This allows me, on my long days, say someone comes in and wants a facial, I get to sit down for that hour. And then say I have a haircut or a color in my next service, I'm standing up. So it's a lot easier on my body, and it's a lot easier on my mental focus.
That's good. One thing that I enjoyed the most was how close you can get with your clients. It really creates a community, because you spend hours with these people and they tell you all about their mama, their daddy, their kids, and everything. And then by the end of it, they're probably going to send you a Christmas card and all this kind of stuff. It just really, you can become a family with your clientele, but also with your co-workers. They become some of the best people that I've ever worked with before. So that was some of my favorite things about the salon.
I agree.
Well, another question for both of y'all as we get close to winding down. What advice would you offer to students who are thinking about career choices?
I would say if you have a dream, do everything you can to achieve that dream. And then once you achieve that dream, find another dream and push on and achieve that dream.
Yes, one thing that I had difficulty with was thinking that I had to choose one career path and stick with it for the rest of my life. So I had trouble deciding, do I want to be a cosmetologist my whole life? Do I want to be a teacher? Do I want to study Spanish? Do I want to study art? I couldn't decide. So what I did instead is I studied every one of them, and I really enjoyed it. I went after cosmetology, and I got my cosmetology license. I studied elementary education. I studied Spanish. I speak Spanish so well now. And I actually went into theater. And so I did all these things. Everything that I wanted to do, I've been able to do it. We don't have to limit ourselves to just one career for the rest of our lives. We can branch out and do however many. So I would encourage you to just go after what you want to do, and you don't have to just pick one.
Awesome, awesome. Well, Rayne Johnson and Grace Orr, thank you for being with us today. We really enjoyed talking to y'all, and I know that everyone's going to love hearing our first podcast. And Caroline, thank you for co-hosting with me today too. If you hadn't been here, I don't think I'd have made it on this first one. This is your host, Larry Smith, and you've been listening to Speakout Podcast, a community outreach of the Lawrence County Career Technical Center in Moulton, Alabama. Today's co-host was Caroline Lee. Thank you for listening, and we hope you'll join us again. For more information and a schedule of future podcasts, go to the Lawrence County Career Technical Center's website or Lawrence County Schools Facebook page.